On June 9th, 1993, 31-year-old John and 29-year-old Deborah Ford were in the midst of celebrating their honeymoon. The couple had been married for only 15 days, and on this day, they decided to celebrate by going on a scuba diving excursion. And so that morning, they got on the dive boat, which took them out into Byron Bay, which is off the coast of New South Wales, Australia. They were with a large group of divers, and so when everybody was ready, they got in the water and they headed down the dive line all the way to the ocean floor, where they just enjoyed looking at the local wildlife. Until at some point, one of the divers in the group made this sign with his hand, which is the international sign for shark. Now, the group is looking around, and eventually they all get eyes on this absolutely massive 18 foot or like 5.5 meter long great white shark. And it's just circling kind of around them, underneath them. Now, nobody panics, but the leader of the dive group, a guy named Jeff Brackenridge, he makes the sign, everybody needs to ascend. But the thing is they can't just go directly to the surface, because they've been deep enough for long enough that if they go directly to the surface, the gases in their tissues will expand and they'll get what's known as the bends. And this condition can be fatal. Even if not, it's extremely painful. So they need to stop at about 5 meters or 16 feet and wait there for 3 minutes before they go to the surface. So as a group, they all go up this dive line to 5 meters and they just begin waiting as they're watching this shark. Now, I'm sure they were all hoping that this shark would not bother them, but of course the shark would bother them. At some point, as they're watching this thing, the shark turns towards the group and starts making a run at them. And it's clear the shark is going directly for Deborah. Now, John, Deborah's new husband, he does the only thing that he can think to do to save Deborah, to get her out of harm's way. He grabs Deborah and he pulls his wife through the water behind him and just puts himself in between her and the shark. This massive shark grabs him around the waist and just goes rushing through the water by the group with John in its mouth, and John's regulator is knocked out, bubbles are going everywhere, the water immediately fills with blood. Deborah is screaming through her regulator underwater, and the group says screw it with the safety stop. They go bolting to the surface, where Jeff, the dive leader, makes sure to get Deborah and everybody else on the boat before Jeff turns around and goes back in the water, under the water, searching for any remains of John. But he can't find anything to salvage. There's just small bits kind of floating around in the blood. The group immediately contacted authorities. A fisherman in an 18-foot boat came out, found the shark, which was as long as the boat. They hooked the shark and fought with the shark for the next hour and a half, where the shark would drag them 4 miles. And during this fight with the shark would regurgitate John. It would cough up John's torso, his swim fins, and part of his wetsuit. The shark eventually, though, would break that fishing line and escape. A helicopter reported a few days later that they found a giant floating great white shark dead in the area, so it's presumed that that shark died from the stress of that fight, although that was never officially confirmed. A few days after that, John's head was found on the bottom of the ocean by some other scuba divers.